You're listening to Classroom Confessions with Katie Smith, a podcast where teachers share advice, encouragement, and the realities of today's classroom. Hi everyone, happy Friday. Welcome to Classroom Confessions, episode 4. Episode 4 means I've been doing this for 4 weeks. That's a month, which is a little crazy, but kind of exciting. So I just wanted to do like a monthly recap, touch on some things that we had talked about. I want to get to some things that I haven't been able to talk about. And that's pretty much it for today. So welcome. Thank you guys for listening. I've really enjoyed doing this the past month. Hopefully, as we go into the school year, this will continue. I'll talk about that more later. But I just wanted to give you some updates. So I have been getting ready for the year, hitting up all the teacher sales. If you live in Southern Nevada, I went to the Teacher Exchange. And for those of you who don't know what the Teacher Exchange is, it's run by the Nevada Public Education Foundation, I believe. It's on Maryland, across from UNLV. And you pay $25 and get 500 points, and then you get to go shopping in their store with those points. And so I did that, and I got $92 worth of school supplies for $25. And that's all the money I spend on my kids. Everything else I spend on me. Speaking of, I got all my new classroom decorations, so I'm really excited to get back in the classroom to decorate. And I took advantage of Prime Day, so now I have my own individual laminator in my classroom. So excited. So excited. So this week for Rose, Thorn, and Bud, I wanted to start in a different order. So just as a reminder, the Rose, Bud, and Thorn. The Rose is something good that's happened to you this week. The Thorn is something bad that's happened to you this week. And the Bud is something you're looking forward to. So I will post on social media to have you guys let me know what your Rose, Thorn, and Bud are. And then I can incorporate that into the podcast next week. For me, I want to start with my Thorn. Life throws us curveballs, and we're not always prepared for them. And I was just reminded this week that life's still out there throwing me curveballs, and the only thing I can do is control my reaction. And so I think that's like a big thing that I need to remember going into the school year is like the curveballs are going to keep coming. We just have to control our reactions. Also, spoiler alert, I saw The Lion King last night. I wasn't super impressed. So, at me, I don't care. I wasn't impressed. Give me the cartoon. Loved it way more. The visuals are incredible, but I was not a fan of the movie. My Rose this week is last weekend. I finally went to visit my family in California. So I live in Nevada. They live in California. And I got to hang out with my brothers, and I saw my mom and my Babs, and we celebrated her birthday. It was solidified that I am Queen IKEA furniture builder. My brother will tell you, but yes. So that was fun. And then, and we also celebrated my friend's 25th wedding anniversary, which was really fun. The Bud for this week is I get to get into my classroom. I'm one of those like crazy teachers. I don't want to do everything like the first 3 days that we go back for teacher training. I just go in for a few hours a day leading up to going back to school, so that by the time training starts, all I have to do is what they ask of us. My room is done. I'm just chilling. So I'm going to start doing that this week. Plus I have meetings, so whatever. And I'm getting ready to move. So I'm moving Labor Day weekend right after school starts. I know it's great, but I'm kind of like getting all that stuff together. So this week, I just wanted to kind of recap what's gone on this month for us. So it's been a month, which has been super exciting and super fun. It's way more work than I thought, but I love it. And it's kind of my sanity in the week. So that's really great. As school starts getting into the swing of things, I'm just going to have to get better with my schedule of making sure I make time to plan the podcast, plan all this stuff for social media and website, and then get it done. So today I wanted to recap some points from the last 3 episodes that I just feel like need to be reiterated. So first, I just wanted to touch back on our management conversation. Make sure you're figuring out who you are. It's going to be really tempting to be your neighbor. So tempting, because your neighbor might have their class like in line, in shape. They're silent in the hallways, and you're going to be tempted to do exactly what they do. And you're just not them. So just be true to yourself, and make decisions. Start thinking about those decisions for how your class will run. Bathroom time, getting in line, going to lunch, entering the classroom, exiting the classroom, all of those things. Since I'm really excited about my classroom setup, make sure you guys are checking out the deals. So Target has their teacher 15% off until tomorrow. That is the target.com/teacher prep, and you put in your teacher ID, and then you get 15% off. It's for clothes too, so keep that in mind. Also, just a little plug for me and my Teachers Pay Teachers site. I make Teachers Pay Teachers stuff, and so I just sent all my posters to be printed because there was a sale from a printing company. And so I'm going to post all of my posters on my website and the dimensions that they are. So if you want those, they're free. If you want me to change the sizes or customize them for you, just let me know. It'll be a small fee. We're not trying to break the bank here. We are teachers, but I'm willing to customize colors and sizes for you if you would like. Okay, so what I really wanted to get back to was building relationships with kids. I love that Kelly was on the podcast last week. I just wanted to hit some points that I was like super excited to talk about, but I was also really excited to talk about her. And so I'm just going to go back and touch on those points. So in the resources last week, I mentioned The Danger of a Single Story by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. And that YouTube TED Talk talks about bringing diversity into the classroom and the harm of just seeing one side of things. So for me, as a history teacher, it really reiterated that I need to incorporate stories of people who are not white. So bringing in people who don't have agency. Another video I recommended at the end of the podcast last week was Colorblind or Color Brave by Melody Hobson. And in this video, she challenges the idea of people saying, I do not see color. And she explains why that is a negative statement, because students of color and people of color have so much knowledge that they can give us about their communities and how society works. And when we say we don't see color, we are in fact negating that they have this knowledge or that they have some different aspects to their culture that we need to acknowledge. And so in dealing with a lot of students of color, that video was super impactful because you realize, or for me at least, it was like a smack in the face, like, oh, well, obviously they had different experiences, but not something that I was consciously challenging myself to think about. Not every student I teach was raised the way I was raised. Not every student is raised the same. So even their interactions are going to be a little different. And so our job as teachers, I feel, is to create a classroom and an environment where students are okay being themselves and sharing about their lives and their cultures and things that go on in their lives. And I'm going to come to that, back to that in a little bit. I also wanted to talk a little bit more about the quote from last week. So the quote from last week came from Janet Lansbury, and I mentioned that she was talking about toddlers, but I feel like this quote is so true, especially for middle schoolers. So the quote, again, as a reminder, said, "In my world, there are no bad kids, just impressionable, conflicted, young people wrestling with emotions and impulses, trying to communicate their feelings and needs the only way they know how." From Janet Lansbury. And that to me is just such a reminder that we are dealing with kids. I'm dealing with 11, 12, maybe younger if I'm interacting with a sixth grader. They don't know. We think they should know, but they don't know how to act in my classroom, at school. We are relying on everybody else who came before us to teach them those things. And we need to be teaching them those things. We need to teach them our expectations. If a child gets upset, okay, how can we help you? And I just think it's important to know that, or to remember, our kids in our classrooms are dealing with so much more than we know about. I used to teach a student, and you could tell from a mile away if this kid was having a bad day. And on those days, I just chose not to interact with him. Like, I'd say, hi, let me know if you need anything, and leave the kid alone. He might be acting up. He might be off task. He might be talking. But if I try and correct that student on a day he's already in a bad mood, that's just going to blow up in my face. So it's quiet reminders, maybe like a tap on the desk or write a note on a Post-it and just set it on his desk. But I'm not going to engage with him verbally to correct his behavior because I know he's having a bad day. You need to teach kids that it's okay to make mistakes. I apologize so much for messing up how I talk or how I write, or if I yelled at a kid incorrectly and it was somebody else, I apologize. And when you apologize, it makes you seem a little bit more vulnerable, a little bit more human. Also, I am 100% authentic with my students. What they see in the classroom is who I am pretty much outside the classroom, minus all the cussing. So they're just getting who I am. If I'm having a rough day and someone makes me mad and I, might go off on them, it's just a quick hey, sorry, I was having a bad day. I took it out on the wrong person, right? We're human. The kids do the same things we do. And so we need to recognize that. The other thing I'm really big on is I don't like disciplining kids for things that we as teachers are guilty of. For example, phones out in class. Not allowed. Also, I'm not going to make a big deal of it because how many of us sit in a staff meeting and are on our phones? I'm guilty. I've checked an email. I've responded to a text. They are humans learning how to behave in society. And so if we aren't teaching them those skills, how are they going to learn them? So if you just yell at a kid for having their phone out and then take it, what are we teaching them? If you let them leave their phone on the desk and when they pick it up, you just remind them no phones. Okay. We're training them on the appropriate times to use their devices. And I find that more impactful than taking a phone every time I see it. Let's be honest. I don't have time. I would have 100 phones a day. I just don't have time. Another thing that I do in my classroom is I try and create an inclusive culture. So this year I bought a new welcome mat for my classroom and it says all are welcome here. So I'm going to put that outside. And then I also have this sign hanging in my classroom. It says welcome all sizes, all colors, all ages, all cultures, all genders, all beliefs, all religions, all types, all people are safe here. And so to me, anytime a student does something out of line or something that's not welcoming to another student, I just point to the sign. We're all welcome here. Everybody is welcome here. And I use it as a teaching moment. Okay, I think that's all I have for you guys today. So just a real quick resource roundup. The Danger of a Single Story, a TED Talk. I'll post the link on my website. Colorblind or Color Brave, TED Talk. I'll post that on my website. I heard that Teachers Pay Teachers is having a sale in August. I haven't seen an email about it, but I'm sure it's coming. So those of you who love Teachers Pay Teachers, go start putting your stuff in your basket so you guys can cash in on that deal. Also, I'm going to post links for my posters on my website. So if you want any of those customized, just shoot me an email. Otherwise, they're free for you to download. Your quote this week is I want to challenge you to think about this as we're going into the classroom and we might not have everything we want to start the year. This quote comes from Arthur Ashe. It says, "Start where you are, use what you have, do what you can." As long as you, teacher, are there with your welcome heart and your mindset and your ability to love on these children, you are good to go, and you will make more of an impact than you know. Just a reminder, you can listen to this podcast and subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, and Radio Public. You can find all of the resources plus episode guides at classroomconfessions.net. If you have a question, comment, concern, you can also email me at classroomconfessionspodcast@gmail.com. And all of our social media, which means Instagram and Facebook, is under Classroom Confessions Podcast. And if you still use Twitter, our Twitter handle is Class Confess Pod. Just a reminder this week, you are alive, you are kind, you are patient, you are wonderful, you are fearless, you are important, you can teach anything, you can be anything, you can change the world. You're doing the damn thing. We've made it another week. Bye, y'all.